Crafting in tabletop RPGs has always seemed weird to me. On one hand, I find the concept fascinating, and opportunities to craft something come up quite often. But on the other hand, the rules for crafting often are either bad or non-existent. I should say that by crafting I mean manufacturing mundane items, not enchanting magic items. Let's see what GURPS has in store for us. First of all, let's check the skill list and see just how many crafting skills there are in GURPS. We have several specialties of armory, artist, carpentry, jeweler, leatherworking, machinist, masonry, sewing, and smith. You might not know that, but GURPS Lands Out of Time has two new skills, bone carving and flint knapping, and they definitely can coexist with the traditional skills from basic set. And that's not all the skills, because some other skills can be used for crafting purposes, for example professional skill glass blower. As for the crafting rules, technically speaking GURPS basic set does have them, but they are very bare bones, basically saying that it's up to the GM. Instead, let's start by showing off the more detailed crafting rules from GURPS Low-Tech Companion 3. Each item has a cost that consists of two components, material cost and labor cost. The aforementioned Low-Tech Companion 3 has a table of common raw materials on page 22, bone, leather, cloth, iron, clay, wood, etc. The list, however, is not exhaustive, and for some materials you will have to devise the cost yourself. The second component is labor cost. Depending on the type of an item you are crafting, this can be from 2 to 80% of the item's full cost, or even more for very labor-intensive items. For example, the longsword from GURPS Low-Tech weighs 4 pounds and costs $700. According to Low-Tech Companion 3, 4 pounds of iron cost $27.6. This means that $672.4 is labor cost, and that's 96% of the full cost. To determine how much active work time an item takes to manufacture, divide the labor portion of its cost by the labor pay rate. The same book has a list of occupations with their pay rates at the end. The actual pay rate is often lower than indicated there. Routine work, including production of most undecorated utilitarian goods, multiplies it by 0.55. Artistic or high-performance work, including arms manufacture and armor manufacture, and decoration, multiplies it by 0.75. The book gives you monthly pay rates. To get a daily rate, divide it by 25, and to get an hourly rate, divide it by 200. Notice how I said active work time, because there might be passive time that you cannot do anything about. Fermentation, drying, soaking, etc. As for the skill roll, you make it after you have done all the labor. If you had apprentices or other helpers, the highest skill of the group is used. Your roll is modified by the equipment used, and you can also reduce or increase the active work time by using the normal time spent modifiers from GURPS basic set. Each decorative embellishment calls for a separate roll. The resulting quality depends on your margin of success or failure. This seems to imply that you cannot say in advance that you are, for example, making a very fine longsword. Instead, you craft a longsword, and if you rolled good enough, you might be able to make a very fine one. This is why high-quality items take longer to craft. The craftsman typically increases the crafting time to get a bonus. Let me show you a few examples of how it all works. I already talked about the longsword, but I did not calculate the crafting time. GURPS Low-Tech says that an armorer has a monthly pay of 1,900. When multiplied by 0.75 for high-performance work, we get an effective monthly pay of $1,425. The daily rate will be $57. The hourly rate will be $7.125. We had the labor cost of $672.4. We divide it by this hourly rate and get 94.4 hours, roughly. If the armorer works 8 hours per day, this is roughly 12 days of work. What about a silver longsword, in case you need to fight a werewolf? Solid silver weapons cost 20 times higher than normal according to the basic set, so a silver longsword will cost 14,000. Now, how much does 4 pounds of raw silver cost? GURPS Low-Tech says that silver costs $1,000 per pound, so the material cost is 4,000. This means that the labor cost is 10,000. Divide 10,000 by the daily rate of $57, and we get the production time of roughly 175.5 days. Man, that will take a while. Let's try armor now. For example, a heavy chainmail that only covers the torso. Such an article costs $1,200 and weighs 18 pounds. 18 pounds of iron cost $124.2. This means that the labor cost is 1,075.8. Divided by the daily rate of 57 and get roughly 19 days. All in all, these rules look fine to me. They are not the most simple ones, but they make sense to me. The only issue might be devising a price for a material that is not on the table in the book. For example, how much does meteoric iron cost, or orichalcum? I have no idea, but such questions are bound to come up in fantasy games, and the GM has to take it into account if he is going to allow crafting. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.